You can, yes, absolutely find inspiration from the world around you. Everything is an inspiration, but being able to distill it down into useful information, into a vision, into conversations that you can sell is equally as important, because half the job for a director is being able to sell the job. The more specialized you get, the more money you make, right? Some of the top directors, 25K a day, it could be in some worlds unlimited, mainly because if you're the only person that is really good at this one space, you can charge whatever you want. It really comes down to how do you start to build a visual medium, which is for us video, that has your voice and your tone and your style that you can consistently do across any type of brand. If you've been thinking about elevating past being a videographer into the world of directing and making the big bucks, today we're talking about the 5 essential skills to become a director, and also how to actually scale your career as a director. And today we're going to show you the path that I took without film school and the directions that you might take into the future. So if you're looking to elevate your filmmaking career, your directing skills, I'm going to show you the exact path that I took without film school to get to where I am today. And as always, we are returning with Juanjo and myself from Tenfold, and we're going to dive right into it. Let's talk about directing. Let's do it.
So Jason, why did you become a director?
That's a great question.
It's a hard question.
It's a very hard one, actually.
You had to think for a moment and realize how hard it was.
Yeah, I've had a different past in the sense that I didn't go to film school. I didn't really know what a director was, besides watching movies, and I knew what a technical director was doing.
Yeah, everyone has a lot of assumptions.
Yeah, but then I didn't really understand the whole framework of what a director does, and what that entailed, both either in the short form or long form version of that. So whether it's movies or commercials, cool, they have a job.
Yeah.
And so when I started, it wasn't about doing all that. It was just, I'm a videographer. I have a camera, but I get to do the whole package, right? So I get to shoot, direct, whatever that meant back then. It didn't even really feel like directing. When you're a videographer, you're just like, things are happening.
Yeah, you don't really direct how the things go. You're just getting them as they go.
And it also felt very uncomfortable to force moments to happen, because I'm like, that seems opposite of what I'm trying to do here.
Yeah.
And then so sometimes, almost for a lot of people too, I feel like you stray away from the whole, I'm going to force that stuff to happen, and I'm just going to get very good at a verite style, fly on the wall. I'm going to capture stuff and find these moments. And that was my first year pretty much.
Yeah.
Even when I did my first coffee commercial for a coffee shop or whatever, I'm just like, so they're like, what do you want me to do? I'm like, just do your own thing.
Your thing.
I'll be here recording from the back end. And so then even when I got into more working with a Justin, for example, it still felt a little bit like that. And it always felt a little uncomfortable telling people what to do, mainly because I didn't know what I wanted.
You didn't know what you wanted them to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so it just kept going back to just do what you're doing, and I'll just capture it. And so even when I was transitioning into more of quote unquote directing, it became very difficult, because things would happen and I would miss the shot and I would be like, that's fine.
At what point did it stop being a videography job or a 2-man videography job with Justin?
Yeah.
And when did it become directing? When was that change?
Real directing?
Yeah.
I would say when we started first doing our specs. Because everything before that was just jobs. And it was a very clear distinction between the two. We would show up on set with all of our stuff, and we would just, you have a camera, I have a camera, let's just go do our own thing. And it wasn't until we understood the commercial world a little bit more, right? There's a very big difference, which is what I always say of doing 100 videography jobs does not translate well to one commercial job.
Yes.
Because it's just completely different. Things don't exist or happen unless you tell the people to make that scene happen, or, for that world to exist.
Yeah.
And so when we started doing our first spec, which is that running one with our friend Anoke, we were just 3 guys out in, nowhere in the world. And we're just sitting there oh wait, I got to lead this. I got to tell him to run this direction or this other direction. What do I do with my hands? And that was probably the step 1 of really trying to make something exist that wasn't naturally happening already. Because it goes from watching people run a marathon and capturing that, to now this guy is waiting for me to tell him, where do I run?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's interesting because we all start, I think a lot of us start in like a videography world, even if we don't even know it.
Yeah.
We just get the camera. It's like, I'm doing video. I want to do video. I don't really know what that means, but I'll just get the camera and I'll just shoot stuff and I'll make it happen. But it is a very clear distinction in the roles, and we can get into that later, of like a director versus a director of photography specifically.
Yeah.
Right. So for you, you started with the camera in your hands.
Yeah.
Why didn't you go the DP route? Why did you, like, what about directing specifically were you drawn to, or were you forced into, whatever it may be? Like, why was it directing specifically?
Yeah, this was a slow process for sure. When I first started working with Adrian and Justin, it was still us doing a bit of everything.
Yeah.
So whoever had the camera was whoever had the camera. And then when Zach came in, it was a little bit more like, we have 4 guys with cameras.
4 videographers.
Like, we got to start to figure out this a little bit better.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't seem super efficient to have 4 people. And I always tell this story because it's like kind of the bridging point for all this.
Yeah.
There was a point where Adrian bought an FX6 because it just came out. It was cool. Like, we had an FX9 by that point. And when Zach came in, Zach was like, I should also get an FX6. And I'm like, Zach, don't do that.
Don't do that.
We don't need a 4th camera. Like, we all own a camera already. So we have like 6 cameras or more than that by that point, of just like random cameras that we could shoot on. So we're like, what is an FX6 gonna do for you? Because you could already use ours. And again, early days where we were kind of uncomfortable asking or being like, hey, can I use that as well? But we're always on the same team. So at that point, it was like, why are we making extra, like, purchases that aren't going to affect the business overall? And we weren't necessarily in a business, but we were in like a weird partnership where we all kind of like verbally shook hands. We're like, hey, we're doing this together. So I'm just like, Zach, you have your own camera. You can always use our FX9 or Adrian's FX6. And I know it always feels a little uncomfortable because it's not your camera, but I'm like, hey, how about you purchase like lights instead? Like, how about we think about this more in a team perspective? And like Astera lights were something that he was trying to get more into as well. He's kind of more like a technical operator. So he was already researching all this stuff in the past, like in his pastime, right? So he decided to go and spend 10 grand on Astera lighting tubes instead. And it really opened up a lot of doors for us, because now we didn't have 4 cameras that were doing, 2 were sitting at home doing nothing. Now we had lights that we can actually use to operate and elevate our image a bit more. And so this is still not the most optimal way to grow your business, but at the same time, it was like the phase 1 of us starting to separate a little bit more. And so for Zach, it was like, wait, let me play this gaffer role a little bit more right now. And me and Justin and Adrian were still doing a little bit more of the shooting stuff, but it started to give Zach a little bit more purpose in the team at that moment to test things out and be a little bit better and more intentional with lighting. And so that was almost like Zach's early stage path towards being a DP.
And also more control within the team for lighting.
100%.
More of a need to be intentional with how you're putting those lights up.
Exactly. And then for us, it was like, okay, we still have too many camera operators right now. And there's things that are being missed on the front end side or the pre-production side. And so slowly we started having to, it was almost like a roulette. It was like, who wants to direct this one? Whatever that means, right? But we were still always, it was still very singular in the sense that like every idea, we were still kind of talking as a group, but then one person on set was kind of being the more like louder voice in a sense. And I think you'll find this is a very good talking point, because when people start working together in the beginning, you need to have some form of separation. Right? Because if you have 3 directors on set, it's very confusing for everyone. It's like, who are the client talking to? Who are the cast and crew talking to? Like, and then you start bickering and talking on top of each other, but like everyone has their own idea. So if you haven't communicated that beforehand, you're like, oh, let me do this. And then the next person beside you is like, oh, wait, no, but do it this way. And you're like, whoa, what's going on? I don't know. I need one singular voice to listen to. And so over time, this is something that we had to really just drill into ourselves to be like, hey, it's getting confusing, right? Like after every shoot, we were debriefing a bit. Like people were saying this is confusing, so clearly there's a problem here. And so I had to start to move into roles that made a little bit more sense for me, anyways, and finding my quote unquote sweet spot of like, I don't really like cameras. Hey everyone, just want to take a quick break from the podcast to talk about the Spec Playbook, which is our free 21-day email course where we walk you through for 21 days how to actually land 10K plus projects. So if you've been interested in learning the skills, the thought processes, and also the frameworks that we use to get and land those projects, especially when we were first starting, so check it out in the description below and let's get back to the conversation. I was doing a lot of stuff because we came from the single videography space, but then I started to realize I was so uncomfortable behind a camera because I was just always fidgeting. Like halfway through shots, I was zooming stuff in. And then in post, people are like, what the heck happened? I can't use this. And then like mid conversation, I was just zooming because I'm like, oh man, am I supposed to do this? I was so uncomfortable with like knowing. I thought I was being creative and giving people options, but it actually detracted from the whole thing. Yeah. And I wasn't good at catching focus, and that was the day. I'm like, none of this isn't focus. I should not be behind the camera. And it gave me so much anxiety to just be behind the camera. Yeah. And then I was trying to like lead people and then also be behind. I'm like, what am I doing? Mm-hmm. So it was also like, those are early stage steps where you just, you know, you know, but you don't know, right? Like you just have to be a little bit more self-aware on that stuff. Mm-hmm. And I can't be like, here's a certain perfect criteria, but there are things later on that I kind of work backwards on. I'm like, okay, I see why I led more into this directing space versus the DP space.
Interesting. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I think for me as well, I always wanted to control what the image looked like. Yeah. And have a say on what the story was, but I wasn't good enough technically to do that myself with the camera. I'm like, I don't know what, I still don't know how to white balance to this day. When Zach is talking about like how he white balances and all the YouTube comments are like, that's genius. I've never thought of that. And I'm like, I am trying to think of that right now and I still don't know what it means. Yeah. But I was much better at communicating and handling a team. So that's why I kind of started going into the director's route. But for you, you just said that you kind of had to reverse engineer things to get there. Yeah. What did those steps look like? What were some of the things you had to reverse engineer and figure out?
Yeah. Like you said, having a vision all the time, I was always selling the projects. Mm-hmm. And so for most cases, I was going out, reaching out to people, being the executive producer or whatever. It just, in the beginning, it's just salesperson, right? Like you're just hitting up everyone, trying to start connections and relationships somewhere. And then I was also at that exact moment being like, what about this idea? What about this? Like I was always thinking super big, right? And so I'm always big vision, even in the business now. It's like, what is happening, not 1 year from now, but what is like 3, 6, 9, 12, and then like 4 or 5 years from now as well, right? And thinking about how do we get to that place. And so it's always been a combination of that. And it was the same thing for the video, because I'm like, okay, if we land this video, it's not just the one thing that it's doing, but what are the 5 adjacent things that it's adding onto? And so if you find yourself doing that often, where you're the salesperson and then you're like, well, I sold this big idea. Now I'm unfortunately the person that has to execute it. Mm-hmm. We just learned over time, it's like, I could sell it, but then now I can build a team around what the sales process is. And I'm not necessarily in love or need to be the person, you know, in front of the camera or like controlling the camera to do that. Yeah. I could just do it from the back end perspective and ensure that like the vision I sold actually shows up on camera. And so that was like the big part of it. It was just being like, wait, I'm already doing this, right? It's like, I don't really care about how it's done. I care about that it exists in the world. And so that was probably it for me as the big one. Mm-hmm.
So you have to sell, you're coming up with the ideas as is. And when you're reaching out to people, you're like, oh, we could do this, this, and this. So you're already thinking of the idea. But then I remember you telling me this story like yesterday, I think. Then you were like, you would do that, you would think of the story and then you would pass it off to someone else.
Yeah. I passed it off to Justin.
Yeah. And he'd be like, dude, what?
And then he was like, why don't you just direct this? I'm like, oh, maybe I should. Because like I remember you doing this. But then I always, in that early stage, I passed it off because to me it was like, oh, my job is done here. Yeah. But then me selling an idea and passing it off to someone else that has no context of what I sold or what the expectations are, is very difficult to work off of, obviously. And so over time, you know, I was like, all right, let me just give it a shot. Let me be the person that actually tries to run this singularly. And then it only mainly came to a turning point maybe a few years ago when things got a little bit too busy. And so that meant that Justin and Adrian couldn't help out as much because they were already on other projects where I'm like, oh, I gotta kind of have to like take this on by myself. And then I had to figure out like, okay, Zach, you're the guy shooting now. And so now it's just up to me and up to Zach to really sit in it and be like, if this goes badly, I can't go and blame someone else anymore.
Yeah.
Right? Oh, guys, it was all four of us and it didn't work out, whatever. Now it's literally like, it all comes back to me. And so I needed to just be like, I guess I got to give this a shot and put in the time and energy to do it. It was very tough.
It is very tough. What was the first project you directed? Like properly directed?
That's a great question. I can't really think about it that far back. Maybe it's one of these spec projects that we did either for like Ben or, there was a little bit of a string there where it was like Ben Flanagan's on spec and then like Sophisticated Fun and all. Those were probably like the peak of it.
Yeah.
But we were testing it on all these small projects before then, right? And so if it leaned more into like the documentary and kind of like commercials, like storytelling side, I feel like Justin was taking on those projects. But then we were starting to get more commercial projects, which is like everything is controlled top to bottom.
Yeah.
And I think it really peaked at the Sophisticated Fun project because that was the one where it's just me and Zach sitting there and being like, what are we doing? Like Adrian and Justin weren't part of the early conversations, right? They weren't part of the pre-production or the sales creative meetings or anything like that. It was just me and then me distilling it down to Zach. And a lot of times that was probably the biggest differentiator. Like Zach wasn't a part of that initial meeting. And so he just came into it as a pure DP and I was out there talking to Nico and the guys of being like, all right, what are we doing here? Like, what's the bigger picture here? And then it really did fall onto me and my shoulders to be, hey, Zach, let's sit down. Here are some ideas. And then we, luckily, like me and Zach have a good relationship of like figuring stuff out in our own unique ways and coming together and putting it together. Like, oh, let's go for this angle instead. And that was probably the one time where there was no support outside of me and Zach. And then we built our whole teams around that.
So from your first videography job to Sophisticated Fun and beyond, as you were stepping into the director role, give me some quick fire skills you had to really learn and master that you didn't have before that helped you become a better director.
Yeah, great one. I think number one is communication.
Yeah.
As always. If you've watched the last podcast, it's all about communication and how badly I was doing it beforehand, right? Like everyone, it's a new skill for everyone, right? Everyone's, even though me and Zach were very close at that point, it was very tricky in the beginning just because we didn't know how to communicate with each other. And it felt like we were always battling on every single shoot. And we're like, why are we battling here?
Yeah.
Right. But we kept playing it off like, hey, it's just part of the process to be battling with each other. It's like, no, it doesn't need to be that. Like you guys can both be very open and communicate the problems that you guys are thinking about or things that you're trying to do and trying to push certain levels to. Because ultimately that's the game, right? Like you're trying to always be better, but you should be doing it in a way where you can communicate that with your partner and then be like, okay, what am I doing with this? Like, how do we both win from this? Because no one wants to get onto set and be like, oh, let's just figure this out now.
Yeah.
And so it took us a while to figure that stuff out as a partnership, and then even as like friends separately. Like, how do we separate this? How do you know that whatever I'm saying is not an offense to you, or like I'm not saying anything bad? Like this is just what's going through my brain. I'm saying stuff out loud, and then it could be wrong, right, or different. And it's completely okay for you to say stuff, and I'm not going to take offense to this.
Yeah.
Right. And so that's like a part one of that practice there.
Skill number two.
Probably going to be research. It took me a long time to get out of the mindset of, hey, the people I'm following on Instagram are not necessarily the people that I am striving to be. And so I needed to start looking outwards on better work, right? Something that we teach in our CPM program of like, how do you elevate you elevate your taste in general?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. How do you look at people that are working in, Spain or Berlin? Like what is happening out in the world? There's always going to be someone better than you, regardless. It does not matter. But should be like an internal drive to continue to be better every single project, or at least start to have some like higher standards. Right. And that was probably the biggest skill to learn. Is like, hey, I don't have to be stuck at where I'm at. I know I have potential to do bigger and better things. What are these little skills that I got to pick up? Hey guys, I just want to take a quick break to talk about CPM, which is Cinematic Portfolio Mastery. This is our 8-week live cohort where we bring 50 students along and show them how to build a portfolio that actually lands them clients, working with brands, and actually raise their rates. So if you've been looking to level up your filmmaking, you can sign up in the description below, and hopefully we'll see you in the January cohort. Everyone starts very badly.
Yeah.
Right? I don't even think I'm great either. I don't think I'm even that good, to be honest, right? But I've learned skills that allow me to execute a project at certain levels based on the experience that I've built over the years, step by step, right? We always talk about like technical specs, smaller skills that you build on quick little shoots that give you confidence to level up to those bigger ones. Because it's so easy to accidentally land a big project and have no idea how to execute it.
Yeah.
And then you don't have anyone to like ask or talk to, and then you're just scared because you don't want to communicate. So you can see how this communication skill levels up into all of these different like layers.
Yeah. Skill number 3.
My favorite one, reverse engineering, right? It's kind of the same, similar to the last one, but when you are starting out, you cannot get to that next stage without knowing what has been done in the past, right? Like, you can pull from everything that you want originality wise in your brain, but if you just haven't expanded that world yet and you have no general path to head to, you just start going in whatever direction seems correct.
Yeah.
And so for a long time, I was just doing a little bit of everything, right? I was just doing a little photography. I was doing a little bit of this. And what really elevated my entire career path was just being like, there it is. Like, that's really cool. This is someone or a director or production company that like I really look up to.
Yeah.
What did they do, right? How do I start to emulate and do similar things to them that put me in this in a more advantageous space to actually benefit from the work that we're doing? How do I make and elevate the stuff? Even if we're doing one project, how do I maximize that? How do I get the most output out of that? How do I get this into the right hands and eyes to get us new jobs, right? It's not just about being the best and do one project and then you just put it out into the world. It just falls into the sea of noise, right? Like, there's so many things coming out every single day. So do I make sure that the right people see me? How do I expand our network? How do I, position our work to make it look very good? Because a lot of our jobs back then were like $1,000, $2,000 or free or whatever.
Yeah.
But if I'm already putting so much time and energy into a project, how do I ensure that I maximize that? So 10 new people see me, and then one of them is the one that control a budget somewhere, and they hire us down the line.
Skill number 4.
Yeah, focus.
Lock in.
You just lock in, right? It's like a perfect example was the whole like photography thing. I moved into photography thinking I needed to just make money somewhere. And the further I went deeper into the photography side, the slower the rest of the business went. Because I was so into this singular thing that didn't really push the business forward. And so I was like, okay, I can make a few thousand here. I can make a few thousand on this side, on the video side. And then what happens is you just go down this like mixed path for such a long time. And then the second we went all in on the video side and just trusted ourselves and just put in a lot more work there, it's like that one project did 25x what I was doing on both mixing the photo and video side. And so I was truthfully just kind of scared, right? I'm sure a lot of people out here is like, I'm just gonna start this other business and make it a side hustle. It's like, no, make your main hustle the main hustle first and get very, very good at it, right? It's just a lot of times people think, let me just, even within a genre, right? And say you're into cars, but you just do so much of everything. Like, let me do a 5-minute video. Let me do a 1-minute video. Let me do a 30-second. Let me try completely, it's like, figure out exactly what your core intentions are in the car world. Look further from you, look at the people 10 steps ahead of you and be like, wait, what are they doing? Why are they getting the jobs, right? You have to be so meticulous with understanding what a future path could look like for you. So then you can reverse engineer and work your way backwards towards it.
Yeah.
But, you could do that, or be like, how about just getting the car photos too? Because I have a camera. I could just I'm already around cars. Let me shoot video and cars and photo. And then you're like, okay, so you're going to get mediocre at everything. And that really was what the path was, right? I was just getting mediocre at everything.
Yeah.
And it just backfired on me pretty heavily.
Okay. And then skill number 5, give me one last one.
Yeah, collaboration is everything. I think a lot of people start off, me included, just being in the scarcity mindset of I'm just gonna do this by myself, and it becomes really difficult to actually talk to new people and find networks because you have this like switch in your brain of like I reached out to this one person and they said they're busy,
Yeah.
or I reached out to this one person, they ignored me and they're just so into their own stuff. Screw these people, and then you message two people and then you completely just quit on it.
Yeah.
Right? Like you have to give people a chance. People might be busy. You've been busy before and you haven't responded to people.
Oh yeah.
Right? So
Sorry if I did that to you.
you just sometimes got to be relentless. Like Justin turned me down like 6 times before I met
Yeah.
him. Right? And then we met in person. We're like, oh wait, we actually have a lot in common now. Are we all trying to get into this like higher level world? We're both struggling. Perfect. Let's just work together and see if we can make anything out of this.
Mm-hmm.
And I think sometimes too, the act of reaching out is kind of rewarding and scary at the same time, obviously, but you have to give it a chance because I can assure you that you will not get far if you do not know how to work with people.
Yeah.
You're not going to get on a $50,000, $100,000 set by not knowing how to connect or work in a bigger set, because clients do not hire out single people anymore. They want reassurance that you have a team, that you know how to work in a bigger function, because that's the gold standard there. And so that's a very simple way to think about it, is like, I'm actually not going to be able to get to this higher level unless I work with people, unless I have a team behind me, unless I know what these roles are so I can get to that place. And so, easy step for a lot of people is just reach out, see who's cool around you. And I was saying earlier, it's like, yeah, you don't want to be doing a lot of the work that's similar to the people around you, because then you just do more of that stuff. But you can connect with these people and collaborate with these people to get to that next level together. And so it's a win-win opportunity for a lot of folks.
Yeah. It's like a getting a job interview.
It is.
So you're not going to send out 2 resumes, get ghosted, and then be like, I'll never work again.
You got to shoot your shot.
You have to send 100, especially in this economy.
Yeah. And you have to do it in a manner that gets people excited.
Yeah.
Right? You can't just be like, hey, I saw you're doing work. Give me some work too.
Yeah.
It's like, whoa, why? Ooh, I don't know who you are.
Put in the cover letter, brother.
Yeah. Be nice. Be awesome. Like that's why interviews are huge, right? Interviews exist sometimes not mainly to just see if you're like competent.
Yeah.
Like that's probably the secondary thing. It's like, are you a regular person?
Yeah. Are you gonna kill me?
Yeah. Do we measure? That was like that was like a big thing. Like again, I always talk about that you on our first set when we were working together, and it was the questions you asked and the care and the intensity there, because the questions you asked meant a lot in terms of, oh, this person cares about what they're doing and like how to actually elevate themselves.
Yeah.
And if you just had asked the wrong question, right? If you told me, I told you before, like if you asked me a question about camera gear,
Dude, should I buy an FX6?
I'm like, yeah, I don't care about it. Yeah, like we're never working together again, right?
Yeah.
And so it's always understanding, like, be smart, you like, it's crazy to just, if your first line for someone is like, yo, you free sometime? Oh man.
Yeah.
It's like, you don't know me yet. Like you have to keep it kind of even keel and give people an opportunity to say yes or no, and not trapping people into a corner as well. Right. Like this is just something, I would say it's like you get very comfortable with the stuff, but in the beginning you have to know what you're saying too.
Yeah.
And it's as simple as being like, hey, I love your work, what you're doing. It's like, we'd love to, in the easiest ways, like just keep doing what you're doing. Like lay it up, right? Don't ask for anything yet. Just be like, yo, oh man, sick. Appreciate you, man. That means a lot.
Yeah.
Now you can build some rapport
Yeah.
and get someone down the line, right? But in the beginning, people are just busy, especially nowadays. I find that because everyone's just grinding, trying to find something, you know what I mean? Like work or relationships. It is even more important now to have real connection first. And so focus on the connection side of things, right? You don't really know exactly where anything leads. Like some of my best relationships or friendships or whatever that might be started as like a joke, or you met them somewhere, or a friend of a friend meets you somewhere. It's like, hey, at the end of the day, all you can do is put out cool work and try to be better, and then connect with people that are also trying to do that same thing. And then see if there's a connection, because you're not going to connect with everyone.
Yeah.
But you will connect with some folks that are going to bring you to that next level.
Cool. That's great advice. Those are great skills. Top 5 skills you got to learn.
Skills.
So beyond that, how do you scale as a director? Because it's super easy to, you know, say I'm a director,
Yeah.
and then, you know, go out, get some friends,
Yeah.
shoot some pieces, start building a little portfolio. Easy peasy. You just gotta put in the work.
Yeah.
But if you want to be the best of the best, or even just better than where you are now,
Yeah.
start getting paid a little bit more money,
Yeah.
live a little more comfortably, do the jobs you really want to do. What do you have to do there to scale to that level and really build like a profitable, sustainable career for yourself?
Yeah. Let me start with the two directions you might go.
Mm-hmm.
And this is more for like the videographer starter, maybe in film school world as well. But let me just start from the top so then we can work backwards and get to those two different directions.
Yeah.
One of them is becoming a reps director. And so a rep director is a director that mainly focuses on only focuses on directing pretty much, right? They
Yeah.
don't care about the business side of things too much. It's really just a relationships based game, and how good of an idea can you create,
Mm-hmm.
right? Whether you're screenwriting and writing your own scripts and really pitching these ideas out, typically these directors are going to be repped, right? And so what rep means is a production company will sign you on to their roster, so then they can market your work to other people, more or less an agent for you,
Yeah.
right? And so that's the importance. And to get to that rep director space, it's about specialization,
Mm-hmm.
as we always talk about, because there's going to be production companies for every type of work, right? Some are promos, some are for short films and movies, some are for more narrative driven, or sometimes you're like that whole like production company is just about cars,
Yeah.
right? And so if it's a car production company, they're going to look for the best types of car directors.
Yeah.
So there's some that do more like a Volvo ad, which is like one feature, but really they're building out a whole like human centric story around it.
Mm-hmm.
And there might be some people that are focused on like cool specialty shots, right? And then there's some that are going to be just rollers for promos that are, 15-second MRSP type, rollers on TV. It's like, oh, it's $30,000. Go check it out at your dealership, So there's like so many different types, right?
Yeah.
But the thing is, you're not gonna, as a production company or someone that reps directors, you're not gonna be getting 5 of the same people that do the Volvo ad style.
Yeah. You're gonna have a diverse roster.
Yeah, because then now you're just gonna compete against each other,
Yeah.
and no one gets the jobs, right? Or one of the people, and then you get some animosity there because you're like, why did you rep me? I'm already doing the same stuff as you.
Yeah.
And so a really good production company will have uniqueness and differences between each of the directors. And so this is a big path because the more specialized you get, the more money you make,
Mm-hmm.
right? Some of the top directors, $25K a day. It could be, in some worlds, unlimited, mainly because if you're the only person that is really good at this one space, you can charge whatever you want. And I'm not being like fake about this. Like there's directors that charge 25,000 USD a day, and they do like 5-day shoots, and then plus the tech scouts and all the everything before that too, and you come out with like $150,000 USD, and you're like, okay, cool, I'm gonna go on
I'm
to
gonna go to Bali for 6 months.
yeah, exactly. You can do whatever you want, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so these people, to get there, you've done this for years and years and years. You've built up the relationships within the production companies, being known for a very specific style of work and a voice that you have.
Mm-hmm.
And that is someone that is very comfortable and has a very unique style that shows up in almost all of their work, right? Like sometimes you talk about like Go Remoto, fantastic director, has like almost 2 unique styles too. Like, but you can see like a continuity between all of his work in the approach of like a little bit more human centric and always driven around like how do you make someone feel something, But he's done this years and years and years, and he's like top of his game, and people come to him specifically for types of work, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so that's a path that you can take. It's getting really good.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of times people get scared to talk about like specializing because they think you're missing out on every other version in the world of a job. But the whole point is like, if you do a little bit of everything, you're only going to get to that like $1,500, $2,000 max, because you're like, oh, you're a little bit good over here, you're a little bit good over here, and then you have 45 other things you're a little bit good at. No one knows what's your thing. Like, what do you do? Can you even get to that scale and level of good work by not specializing? Probably not.
Yeah.
Right. And so it really comes down to how do you start to build a visual medium, which is for us video, that has your voice and your tone and your style that you can consistently do across any type of brand, right? Because, you know, my favorite thing is watching some of these food directors, and they're like the top of their game, and they have a very unique style. It's like specialty, slow-mo, macro, pro blend, stuff like that, right? Like spins, all this cool stuff. But they only focus on food, right? And so like a Panda Express will come to them, but then also a Thai Express.
Yeah.
And then all these types of food companies that live in that little niche right there that want that style, they'll all come to one person that already has a portfolio of Panda Express, Thai Express, all the expresses, you know? And so you got to think about it a little bit deeper. Like, what do you want to be known for? Because you could be known for nothing and land nothing.
Yeah.
It's very common.
You can be known for being mid at a lot of things.
And scary.
And you can get a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
But they're all not going to be those big budget jobs that you want.
Yeah, you got to be known for something. What do people attach beside your name when they talk about you?
Yeah.
Right? It's like, oh, is that just, Justin the videographer? Or is that Justin like the narrative, like documentary filmmaker? Right? It's like, there's a very big difference between that. And even deeper, you could be like, oh, it's a narrative. He does running specific documentaries only.
Yeah.
Or he does, foundation specific, like you can go in any direction, but the more you start to niche down and add these extra adjectives and verbs or whatever it is, I didn't pass English, so it's like whatever words come afterwards, like that is really the base foundation of what you want to get to. So if people can't really describe who you are or what you do right now, it's like, are you the fashion person that does, more narrative fashion films or whatever that might be? You want to get tighter and tighter, and how you do that is actually build a portfolio that's larger in that very specific world. It doesn't have to be one brand either. It could be the same style, but you're adapting it to different brands inside that niche.
Yeah, it's like Moneyball. You gotta be known for being able to get on base, and then the teams will pay you the big bucks to do that.
Crazy reference.
Yeah,
it's so niched, right? It's like, oh, this guy has a very specific batting average. Great, let's go pull this one guy.
We need that exact batting average on our team to complete the roster.
Yeah, because here's the other option. Great analogy is like, oh, this guy's got a okay batting average, okay whatever, okay like steals, whatever that stuff is. It's like, okay, it's not really. We only need this one person right now, and we're willing to pay $500,000 a year for this one specialized person. Unless you get someone like Shohei Ohtani, then you're like, oh, we got double up.
He's like the best at everything.
Yeah.
You're not.
That's not fair.
Yeah,
but most of us are not Shohei Ohtani and super freaks as an athlete. We're probably more of a specialist that is like, oh, you're a DH. You're like, you can hit this ball. Good. I'm not even gonna make you run. You just hit balls, right? And so that's a really fun world to think about it. It's like, just get really good at one thing, right? Like, are you a pitcher, or are you like an outfielder that you're really just good at that? And then, pitchers get specialized money because they're the best at that role. And there's not that many of them, first of all. And so again, you can be mediocre and not make the league at all, or you can get into the league doing one thing and then you get as much money as you want.
Yeah.
And obviously that sounds super like, oh, as much money as you want, but like you do get to control more of what you get paid when you are like, you want me, I don't want you. You know what I mean? Like, you were calling me in the first place. Like, that's the whole point.
If you don't get that reference, go watch Moneyball.
Yeah, great movie.
Shout out Billy Bean, bro.
Yeah. Big baseball fans here.
Yeah.
I don't really watch that. I'm a bandwagoner, unfortunately.
No, you got the reference though. You pulled out the right.
I know a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
I am mediocre.
And then you're saying that there is a second path that you can go down. What is that second path?
The second path is kind of the path that we took, which is, if you are into running a business and much more of the business side and being able to control the whole kind of like top to bottom, then you wouldn't specialize so much in being a pure director. I call them pure directors because they're like, that's all they think about. That's all they do. References all day, writing treatments. That's all they do. Whereas like we kind of took a more mixed approach, which is, hey, I think we can also run a business that can be the creative agency as well and sell these projects and be a part of the whole picture. And then directing is just a part of it. And so, yes, you still have to be good and be able to create more projects and direct and whatever that might be. But you also have to deal with all the logistics and admin stuff of running a business as well. And so this is like the secondary path. It's definitely different and more work, but they require different traits and skills as well. Like if you're a director, a peer director, I would say you have to be very organized in your approach to writing treatments. You need to know how to write, first of all.
Yeah.
You need to know how to ideate and sell a big vision. Sure, you have to do it on the other side as well, but everything on that side is more or less ideation and then networking. Who do I know? Am I talking to production companies all the time? Who are the people that I'm meeting around that? It is going to be producers, executive producers, also creative directors and stuff as well at agencies, so you can get these jobs. And that's really the game. Am I trying to get repped? And if you're going to start a rep direction, it's like talking to reps, being like, what do I need in my portfolio to fill the gap that you need so you can bring me on? And then you're working towards a goal now to become a rep director. And so rep directors, you get to talk to other production companies being off roster. Off roster just being like you're not on the official roster, but they still, if you have a very specific style, they'll still pitch you for projects.
Yeah.
Because here's how the agency world works. It's, as a production company, they'll get a bid from, say, Toyota. And they're like, okay, it's the Toyota ad, but they're looking for very specifically a director that can, maybe more in the Volvo world. Like we're going for more human-centric storytelling here.
Yeah, really good narrative.
Good narrative, and it feels touching. Maybe there's like a father and daughter type of story. And then the people that they have on their roster, it's just like, man, we only have the cool, flashy stuff.
Yeah.
But, the production company was known for cars a bit, so that's why they got that entry bid or whatever, right? And then they're like, shoot. Because the agency is going to ask them, like, put up a director, right?
Yeah. Who do you have?
Who do you got? So you're like, this person's portfolio is okay. I think we got to pull in this other person that all they do is like the human-centric storytelling stuff. So then they can bid for that person and bring them in and be like, hey, we're going to put up this person here, this director, and then go through that whole process. So that's a path on how you can find work if you're not fully repped. Even when you do get repped or if you're going down that path, it's still up to you to do work all the time. That's why we advocate on spec so badly, because even at the top level, right? If things get slow, you still got to go find work yourself, right? Like as the industry shifts, you can't just rely on a singular direction and hoping that the roster, your production company brings you in work. It's like you need to be showing up and evolving and being better all the time, right? And so that's definitely a path. But like knowing this stuff ahead of time gives you the sense of it's easy to do spec wrong and then just keep doing that and hoping for the best. We'd rather, that's why we tell people, it's like, I'd rather everyone learn how to do it properly so then you can just elevate and get that skill better versus trying to learn the paths along the way and being like, it's taking me 6 years and I still don't have a good spec here that's helping me. But yeah, that's the tangent that I'm going into. But when it comes to the production company side, yeah, you're just balancing different ways of how to intake projects.
Cool. I think that's pretty much a good place to round it off. Do you have any final thoughts you want to share with the people?
Yeah, I do.
Go on.
Directing is a lot of work.
Yeah.
Right. I learned this from Nick a long time ago, one of our editors, one of the best editors in the world. And when we were editing the On the Fire project, it showed me a lot about the importance of what are you thinking through, right? I gave him a bunch of footage and he came back with, here's the edit of where it should be right now. And not a lot of people will give you these notes because you have to be at a very specific level to have worked on so many different projects that the project that they're working on with you is like
tell
very
someone
low.
else to do.
Yeah, like our stuff was pretty low level compared to the stuff he was doing at a very high budget.
Yeah.
And so again, even at that stage, I'm like, okay, so what are the top people doing, right? And so he's like, hey, look at the stuff that you're shooting that's not making the edit. Because knowing that is equally as important as the stuff that you are putting into the edit. Right. And so his whole point there was, I'm shooting all this extra junk here, hoping that it makes sense for the edit. And it's a waste of time. It's more time to ideate it, more time to shoot it on set. It removes time from the shots that did make it, which I could have made even better. And so this is a very important practice and skill to have when you debrief any project you shoot. It's like, look at all this stuff I shot. Look what made the final edit that makes me happy about it. And be like, why? I don't need to shoot that stuff anymore. Like let's double down on this and maybe add some stuff around that. But a lot of the stuff that we teach now is about eliminating that, right? In CPM, it's like, how do we eliminate the junk that doesn't make it so we can focus down on the stuff that does make it? Because we already know, right? It's like every shoot that we do now is like we know exactly what we're gonna shoot, and that's a big question that people have. It's like, but how do you know what you're shooting? I'm like, it's a learned skill. It's actually not about like just guessing your way. Because we used to do that, just shoot everything.
Yeah.
We'll figure it out in post. And then you bring it to an editor. It's like, why are you figuring this out in post?
Yeah, why are you making me do this?
In pre-production. Like,
Yeah.
it's making the edit process like 3 times longer.
Yeah.
Because really, in a perfect world, an edit should only take you like 3-4 days.
Yeah.
Even
Maybe
on a big
less.
commercial. Even less. You can do
Yeah.
one, like we've done edits in like a day and a half.
Nick was telling us that like he's done like music videos for very big artists
Yeah, in a day.
in like less than 24 hours.
Yeah, like when things have to come out, but they don't hope for the best from the editor side. As a director, it is your sole goal to know exactly what is coming.
Yeah.
What is this vision you've sold? How do you ensure that that vision is actually translated over to the shooting style and the shooting approach? And then when it comes to the editing, they're just putting it together. Maybe they're adding a little sauce here and there because there's always micro adjustments, but at the end of the day, it's equally up to you as a director to know exactly what is coming down the pipeline.
Yeah.
So yeah, that is directing. And we'll call it directing 101. It's like, here's a direction that you might want to go into. And then here are some skills that you guys might need to learn earlier to really double down and focus. Because if you're not going to be the best director, right, try to be. I don't know.
At least try.
I think it's important,
Yeah.
right? It's like, don't just be a mediocre director. It's like, study it, film study, be the person that's, you're not doom scrolling every day on IG, doom scroll Vimeo or Frameset or
That's
something
the $1 million
else.
advice right there.
Hey, shout out Frameset.
Yeah.
Those are the homies. And that's an easy way to just like practice in your downtime, find inspiration, right? You can, yes, absolutely find inspiration from the world around you. That's what everyone, that's part of the system, part of the problem of like, you can take everything is an inspiration, but being able to distill it down into useful information, into a vision, into conversations that you can sell is equally as important, because half the job for a director is being able to sell the job, sell an idea that people get behind. So yeah, if you guys are interested in more director talk, drop the word director in the comments.
If you guys need more filmmaking resources, make sure to check out all the links in the descriptions below. We've built out a ton of great libraries and resources for filmmakers, just like you guys, to help elevate your game, get to the next level, get paid a little bit more. And also, if you guys didn't know, we're on all of the platforms, the Unfold podcast. So whether it's Spotify, Apple Podcasts, I don't even know. There's like a bunch. I don't even know all of them. But if that's your preferred way of listening to us, make sure to check us out there. Make sure to subscribe on this channel as well.
Sweet. We'll see you in the next one. Peace.
Peace.